Hey there, Capricorn. How are you doing? This is your ascendant forecast taking you from Monday, the 22nd, right the way through to Sunday, the 28th of December, 2025. We've had quite a busy December with loads and loads of planetary connections and aspects and all sorts of different things going on. Alignments to the great attractor and then alignments to the galactic center. It just feels like it's been quite relentless. Lots and lots of opportunities to expand, and also lots of tough squares to, I think, get the best out of us in terms of our awareness. Now, as we head into this week, Christmas week, or a week, I mean, I don't know if you celebrate Christmas or not, but it's a week usually associated with festivities and also additional emotional pressure. As we come into this week, we've only got two really strong exact aspects, and they're the two that I'm going to be talking about in this forecast. So, there's not so much to include in this one. We've got one planetary change as well. That's Venus going into the sign of Capricorn. Now, there's a real theme in this week ahead, and I think of it as a theme of emotional maturity that's coming in really, really strong around Christmas time. So, I'm hoping to pace you through it, give you some advice that I see coming up astrologically, and that will be tailored to you as a Capricorn ascendant. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Louisa. Welcome to Feel Good Astrology. And as ever, I'm going to bring up my slides. But before I show you any of the charts, I just want to say thank you to the people who have supported me historically and who are supporting me right now with my channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So this is the first chart. You can see on Monday, the 22nd, the moon is still in the sign of Capricorn before it moves into the sign of Aquarius. And then by the end of the week, the moon is going to be down here in the sign of Aries. So the moon's going to move right the way along here. You'll also notice Venus has moved from Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And the Sun and Mars have moved further into the sign of Capricorn. So, this is going to be an interesting one for you, given that you've got all these planets coming through your first house. Now, if when you look at your chart, you see that this first house, this area here of your chart, has the symbol for Capricorn in, but also the symbol for Aquarius, then it's also important to listen to the Aquarian forecast, because there will be some relevance there as well. This chart is made using a Western tropical whole sign model, which has one sign per house. But if you use a Placidus charting scheme or model, you'll probably have Aquarius in your first house too. Anyway, let's get going. So as you start this week ahead, the moon is in your own sign in the first house. We're often feeling a lot more emotionally charged when the moon is in the first house. And on Monday, there's a lot of things going on with the moon. The moon's making aspects to Jupiter, Chiron, then Saturn and Neptune. And then later on, the moon is going to be making a very strong trine to Uranus, going into the sign of Aquarius, and then making a strong connection to Pluto. Overall, I would say, this day is about your resonant frequency. What are you going to claim as being your own frequency? With the moon in the first house, you could easily get buffeted around in your emotions because you're wearing them right on your sleeve and everyone can see them. With all the aspects that are coming up, and I'm not going to, I could spend 15 minutes unpacking those, so I'm not going to do that. But what I really notice is how you end the day has a lot to how you start it. And so if you pick the right emotion and pick the right set point that you're going to focus on in this day ahead, when you end that day, it's going to be, I think you will have really grown on that day. So for instance, if on Monday, the 22nd, you're going about your day, doing whatever it is that you need to do in preparation for later on the week or whatever is happening, whether you celebrate or not, often there's a difference in working patterns and things like that. There's always something shifting. However you attempt that day will come on in leaps and bounds towards the end of it. So as the moon goes into the trine with Uranus, things move faster. There's a much speedier consciousness going on. New information relevant to how you're feeling will drop in. It's not going to drop in place if you're not feeling it, so if you're in an angry state, you'll probably have a realization about your anger. But if you're in a really positive state for the week ahead, the great stuff's going to drop in. That's why I think it's really important. And then soon after, as the moon goes into your second house and makes a conjunction with Pluto, that's really setting your emotional control. The moon and Pluto in a conjunction together, can bring up possessiveness. It can bring up a sense of like the need for emotional control. And it can also show where we get out of control and get really possessive and jealous and demanding and strong and almost tyrannical. But if you set your intentions really well, I think you're going to have a really powerful way of being. So I would choose, if I was in your shoes, I would choose to enjoy a powerful emotion rather than an erratic and strong and moody kind of energy. So really pick well on Monday. As we're coming into Tuesday, the moon's going to make a sextile to Mercury. It's a good time for us for you to talk to your unconscious mind. It really feels like there's a lot of deep stuff that's coming up. So, again, if you're in the right mind state, you're going to get helpful information coming up from your unconscious mind. But of course, if you're already in an altered state and feeling fired up in the wrong way, you're going to be drawing from a lot of unconscious chaos, I would say. But anyways, we're coming into, and the reason why I also say this is on Wednesday the 24th, we've got one of our aspects that is really, really important, and that's Venus square Neptune. And it's a bit of a difficult one because it shows the collapse of one of our belief systems. This square between Venus and Neptune, they are both they're both harmonics of love. Venus is very much a terrestrial love, and Neptune is a celestial love. It can be an unconditional spiritual love, whereas Venus is very much in the body and is real, like a real lived love. It could be your love of your friends, your children, your partner, your parents, and so on and so forth. Whereas the Neptune love, takes us to a whole higher level. Now with this square, I think we're dissolving, our ideas of what love can be are being really challenged. We might have this idea that we can love unconditionally and that we can give unconditional love, respect and support for somebody. But, the reality is that maybe we can't do that. Maybe it's too difficult, because we're human, we're flawed, and we also have our own needs, which are never fully met until we can meet them inside. And, I can't speak of that myself because I haven't got there. I'd love to. I'd love to speak from that myself, but I can't fully, but with this Venus and Neptune square, what we've got here, I think, is the disappointment that can come up with love. And so Venus is in the 12th house. And so it may well be bringing up old memories and recalls of things. And Neptune is in the 3rd house, and it's getting really close to the 4th house. It's already been in the 4th house earlier this year. But, Neptune is about that sense of belonging to the pack, belonging to the community, and Venus in the 12th house. I suspect there's something going on, with you not feeling like you belong, or that you should be able to belong, but you can't. And, maybe there's something going on. There's something that you need to learn. It's not always that easy. And so it really shows up as a tension that's difficult to manage. Now, as Venus moves into the sign of Capricorn straight after, into your 1st house, you should notice a dynamic shift. First of all, Venus is going to get a lot more practical. She's sober, she's grown up, she's going to look at all relationships through discernment, which I think is going to be helpful. So you're not going to feel like you're you're going to feel like you're not played around, because you're in a place of choosing, which I think is important. And it's responsible love. It might have boundaries, especially in the 1st house. you know, you're in the sign of Capricorn, you might have boundaried love, and you might want to spend time around more grown-up people as well. So you're not going to be spun around in love quite so much, which I think is going to be helpful. But that inner longing for something that maybe is not possible, it is still playing out. Venus is in a square with Neptune for the rest of the week, but it's not as intense, which I think is good. On Christmas Day, the moon goes into the sign of Pisces in the 3rd house. So it's all about belonging. It's all about the community. It's all about your siblings and cousins and great aunts and uncles and all this, that, and the other. But it's also about normality. You're brought back down to earth. You're brought into the normalness of everything, and you might say naturalness because it might feel very natural to you, but you're watching an astrology channel. And one thing I notice about a lot of the people that listen to me, and no offense if it's not you, but a lot of people that listen to me have felt a little bit different in their own family makeups. They feel like the black sheep, or they feel like the outlier, or the way shower, or the spiritual one, or the weird one, and the this, that, and the other. So you might feel, like this place here is great when when you feel comfortable, when you feel that your difference is appreciated by people. But the 3rd house really does have norms, and so around Christmas Day, if you're spending it with other people, you might find that you are back in the bosom of the energy that you felt awkward in. So it could be helpful to have some strategy around that. I mean, the moon in Pisces is gentle, which is lovely. And one of the great things that's happening on that day is that the moon is making a series of sextiles to Venus, then to the sun, then to Mars. It does feel like the community is trying to understand you, and you are trying to understand the community around you. And then by the end of the day, the moon is in a conjunction with the North Node, which really helps you feel back on track with the community and feeling like you are kind of part of it, which I think is lovely. It feels like there's a merge. That's lovely. And actually, isn't that the meaning of these times? We come together and we realize, that there is a kinship, I think. And then on Saturday, the 27th, we've got the moon going into Aries, which is in your 4th house, which is all about the home. So you might find you're going deeper into the home. I think for a lot of other people, when the moon goes into Aries on Saturday, it's back to work or back to normal, back to getting everything sorted out. Whereas for you, it feels like you might still want a bit of a rest. And yes, you might be organizing things a little bit, which is okay. That's great. But it doesn't feel like you have to be so performative. It feels like you can be a little bit more like yourself, a little bit more like you are in private, which I think is going to be helpful. And then come Sunday, and I'm just going to move my chart on, the moon is coming into an exact conjunction with Chiron, and we've got Mercury in an exact trine to Chiron and the moon. Now, Mercury is in the same place that Venus was in when she was making her aspects. They're coming from the 12th house. So both of these aspects coming up this week are coming from your unconscious mind, the 12th house, your inner programming, and your inner fears, your inner insecurities, your inner resistance, your inner self-sabotage. And it's coming on the 28th. Mercury is in a trine with Chiron. To me, it feels like whatever has been hidden inside is given a release in the home. And yes, you might be triggered at home. You might feel a little bit emotional, a bit tearful, because with the moon in a conjunction with Chiron, we feel quite vulnerable, and we can feel, really, well, we almost don't have a choice as to whether we reveal how we're feeling. We often burst into tears, or, it becomes really obvious, what's going on for us. But to me, it feels like something is coming up and out, and it's healing. It's a gentle breakthrough. Old wounds are given sound and words and energy. Something that is hidden is coming out to be seen, to be observed, to be shared. And so you're not carrying it on your own. And I think that's important. And so I think, when it was hidden, it was hard to find the wisdom of it. It was hard to find the relief and the insight of it. But on Sunday, there's this beautiful opportunity for it to come out, to be observed, and for you to really feel the relief and the wisdom and the insight. So I think it's a very special and strong day. So across the whole of this week, I really see that the illusions about love are cracking and changing. The distortions about it are shattering. And by the end of it, any soreness about it and any sort of really hidden vulnerabilities are coming up to be healed. So I hope that's helpful for you, Capricorn. And, you know, like I say, Christmas Day, I think there's going to be a lovely feeling of belonging that comes up for you, which would be great. So anyway, if you find this helpful and you would like to learn about astrology or hear more from my forecasts, I've got a free community that you can join. It is on the platform called School. That's SKOOL.com. You can even download a really reliable app on your phone. You can scan the QR code above, and it will take you straight to the School platform. Like I say, it's free to get the forecasts. So there's daily forecasts. There's all sorts of different things on there. And then from January, I'm going to be running a free sort of intro to astrology. It's a very, very short course. And then after that, I'm going to be teaching 3 terms of, I think, quite a thorough curriculum, where we're really revisiting things and learning about astrology, but it's a very sort of experiential course where we're going to be working together, looking at our charts together and things. And there's also going to be a summer school thrown in as well. So, but it's all taking place from my school community. So come and join me if you like it, and we'll take it from there. But, you know, whether I see you or not, have a beautiful Christmas week or festive week, however you choose to celebrate or not. But have a good week, and hopefully I'll catch up with you real soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.